This is the Amp Hour Podcast, released December 13th, 2022. Episode 612, Slapping Industries.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of the Slapping Industries, because I am supposed to be slapping you.
Well, I know what this is about. Right. Thank you to the
5 days
person who
ago.
put this on. Who put it on? The silly lion. Yeah, thank you very much. Got the most upvotes. Yeah, go ahead. Do it. Although I haven't technically got one. So, you know.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, in the light of last week's episode, I just wanted to say that in episode number 255, at timestamp 5620, Dave says that, quote, if you ever hear me utter the words, I'm contemplating getting a pick and place, just, slap me. Thank you and happy holidays. Fantastic. What a great callback.
Oh, jeez. All right. Oh, I think I've come to my senses.
There we go.
What was I thinking?
Oh, it's okay.
Oh boy, yeah. So trust some nerd to remember, right?
I mean, I have to wonder, like, were they just now listening? Were they listening to it recently?
Or did they actually pull that out of their memory bank? It wouldn't surprise me if they pull that out of their memory bank, because I can still say, oh yeah, I can remember that in an episode and a copy of Electronics Australia magazine back in 1985. There was this article that said blah 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 blah. Like I can probably pull that out of my ass.
It probably means that they had something in their memory that they're like, yeah, I really would like to see Dave slapped.
Slap me, right? Yeah, possibly. Yep. I don't know. I don't know what triggered it. I don't know. The lust for a pick and the urge to get a pick and place machine.
I think it is completely natural. I think here's the thing. I think the journey often goes like this. I'm so frustrated. If only I could just build, these boards are taking so long to build if I'm sending them out, or they're taking so long to build if I have them in-house. All I just need is some robot to do this. It would be so easy if a robot would do this. And the answer is, yeah, of course it would if it was perfect, but it just sucks. Even then you start realizing that it's only $5 a board to get your board assembled.
Yeah. Or whatever, right? Insert symbol here, like insert your assembly figure. There, right? But let's just say $5 to assemble a board. You go like, well, how do you justify $10,000 pick and place machine and all the infinite amount of time and energy required to run it and massage it and maintain it and pull your hair out and learn it and And
I think it's really that, like, the idea of like the drop of the hat. I always talk about like the 2 a.m. problem,
right?
And like if you had a thing at 2 a.m. Like this would be super, super useful. But most people, I feel like, do not have that. And the ones that do, it's probably faster, cheaper to just pay for overnight service, like from a actual assembly house.
Oh yeah.
So I think.
Well, I think part of my motivation is that part of the inspiration is that I think it might motivate me into doing actual designs and getting them assembled. Right? Because if I've got the capability there, I go, here's an idea I could sell a couple of hundred of these boards, And why not
I don't agree with that for myself. I think that's like the buying a treadmill in order to start running. I think really I should just decide to start running.
Yeah, you should just do it. But I'm sort of a bit unusual case. I've got a large audience who will, if I came up with some little widget that, I could probably like sell and distribute a couple of hundred of them.
I'm sure you could,
That's no problem, I think.
Yeah. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you should, if you were actually serious about that, you should build 2 little widgets first.
I should build the widgets first and then then figure. Well, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should build a couple of widgets in anticipation of getting a pick and place machine.
Right,
and then I have.
And there's always future ones too, right? Yep. You're gonna do like variations and upgrades and stuff like that. So
yeah. Well, straight off the bat, I could get into remanufacturing my microcurrent or a variation of it. Maybe I can just do a new variant of that. But I've got a couple of ideas. I just need the inspiration to spend the time on them to actually get it done. Hey. So, And I've got the extra room now to do it. So that's another thing. Well, actually, it pretty much, I think
oh,
it was
actually,
that.
it's full of stuff already.
No, it was. If you've seen my video, it's on my Odyssey channel. It's an exclusive over there, I think. I don't think I put it on my main thing. But anyway, we'll have to link it in. It's where, I actually cleaned up my bunker, and I was astonished at the amount of bench space I had. And I went, oh, I could put a desktop pick and place machine here if I wanted to,
Yeah.
And then I actually started. So that's what, and then I just grabbed my camera and I just shot a little blurb down there, and that's where the inspiration came from, I think.
Well, and actually there was an update on that, right? So we had talked about it on the show, and then you had also kind of kept going with it, and then I think you had kind of figured out that like you don't want to go with that machine that you had talked about on the show.
No, the kit. No, even though. Thank you, the light placer. Sorry, I forget his name, but he's still making the light placer, and he did. He said if I wanted to actually do it, because the kit I've got is like 7 years old, and so it's not. No,
this wasn't the kit. This was you had talked about the YYZ or something like that.
The YY1.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Look. There's been discussion on the forum. I'm involved in this forum thread where some people are, there's like 3 or 4 people on the EV blog forum who've got one, and like there's one person saying, look, it's okay, it's doing the job. I solved these problems, but most people seem to think, no, the feeders are really dicky, and and the last thing you want is feeders that are dicky, right? That's the whole thing with pick and place machines is reliable feeders, right? That's like totally. The biggest grief with a pick and place machine. It's not that you got to spend the time to program it. Look, that's easy peasy.
That's something, but it's not.
Yeah,
much,
no,
right?
but that's you got to do that with any. You got to do that with any machine, right? But the differences between machines are in how reliable is the pick and place stuff. How reliable is the vacuum system, the feeders, the pulling the tape back, and doing all the rest of it, right? Can you just set it up and go and come back and, you're 1,000 parts are done? Or do you have to sit there and massage the damn thing?
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. And there's just too many reports of dicky feeders. These 3D printed, by the way. They're 3D printed feeders. So as I think you spotted on the previous podcast, you actually saw the image and you went,
but that could have been promotional or early photos versus
no, apparently they're 3D printed,
interesting.
Yeah, which is fine if they work, right? But anyway, an update from the previous show when we talked about it is I did actually put a bid on a local used machine.
Oh, interesting.
And it came with 44 Yamaha feeders. Right?
Oh, wow.
It was like it was, it was the real deal, right? And it was a desktop one, and I would have had to drive to Canberra to get it, but fine. Okay. I could do a road trip, right, to get it.
Yep. Rent a ute.
Rent a ute, yep. And I did actually check the car. I did actually measure the car, and it might have just fitted in the car.
Okay.
It's more of like the awkwardness because it weighs like 110 kilos, so it's more like the awkwardness of trying to like slide it in there and stuff like that.
Yep.
So
not ding up the car too.
Yeah. So don't care about that. It's an old car, but,
Got it.
Yeah, so we weren't. So it would have actually fitted. The problem is getting it. Anyway, I could have figured out the transport, right? And so unfortunately, I should have hit the buy it now button, okay? Because the guy, there was a make an offer thing. So I went, oh yeah, I'll make an offer. So I made quite a generous offer on it, but it was below the selling price. So I waited for the guy to get back to me, and then he didn't get back to me, and then it just vanished. The actual eBay listing just vanished, right? So I contacted him and said, hey, what's going on, And he said, oh, no, we decided to keep it. And it's like, oh, damn. So even if I hit the buy it now button and paid for it straight away, I think he would have reneged on it anyway. So, anyway, And that, it was a used machine. Was it a Charm High or something? Which, I know they got a bad, or no, it's some variation. It is one of the Chinese ones, but it's one of the better ones. But it uses Yamaha feeders, right? So it's one of the ones, and it came with 40 Yamaha feeders, for goodness sake. So I'm like, and it was only
Maybe
three $3,000 or something.
Contact that person and just be like, hey, you want to build some boards?
Right. Well,
I come
Well, I've
down, I can do
already
some
got my assembly
videos
guy
and
up the coast. I've already got my
yeah,
assembly
okay,
guy
there you
for
go.
what board to
Yeah,
assemble.
okay.
So it's no problem.
Sure. Okay.
Hey, I've got one in the business park here. There's an assembly
No,
house in
there
the
you go.
business park
Boom,
here.
done.
I can just
Okay.
walk down the road and have my
So what's the
boards
problem here,
assembled.
man? Just go talk to that person again.
It's not the same, I want to make them myself.
Okay,
Anyway.
well.
Yeah, so I was all hyped about that, and I was all ready to go. I was planning my trip. I was checking out, prices to hire utes and stuff. For the, I was like, I was going to go, like I was happy to pay the original price. Like if he wanted to haggle on the price, I would have paid the full price. Yeah, and he just no, damn it. So that one fell through, and they're so rare here. That's the problem.
Yeah. I think
right?
that's the thing. They haven't been
Yeah,
imported, right?
yeah. No, well, you can buy secondhand pick and place machines here, but you get them through there's one or two big dealers, and no, you'll
I
be
see.
paying 20 grand for one, right? So you
wow.
won't be able to get like a used desktop one for under 5 grand. No, isn't going to happen. So this was rare as hen's teeth, especially one with that many feeders, and I think they were genuine Yamaha feeders. So, whew,
Yeah.
Anyway. Boy, I don't know
Oh,
whether
well.
I should
There
just
goes
go
that
for it
dream.
and
I think you should just build some. Honestly, you should just build some. I think you gotta get those muscles flexing again. Think about it like the gym, right? This is your couch to 5K, but it's a
and build
couch to
as in
building a
build
small
something
electronic
or
project.
actually design
Yeah.
a
No,
product.
like
Are
build
you
something.
talking
Like
building,
get
right?
it all the way through. Get it all the way through to a
But using
actual
my
real
own
product.
pick and place machine, you think I should just buy one and
No,
just
I think you
try?
should. I think you should hand place it. I think you should feel the pain.
No, I don't want to hand place
Yeah,
the bloody things anymore.
I
No,
think you should.
no, screw
I
that.
think this is an important thing because it also gives you, you could do basically if you hand place your first set of boards, is basically you have about 6 hours or however long it takes to hand place the first couple boards or board
Yeah,
or two, whatever. That is when you're dreaming up all the DFM things because you're going, oh, fucking,
yeah.
why did I make this such a small resistor? Like this is like the best way to do DFM is to experience the pain of your design decisions.
Dude, I've already done that. I've already done that many,
I'm
many
saying a
times.
new thing. I'm not saying I know
New
that you're talking about building the old thing. I'm saying build a new thing.
Why? It's the
You were
same
saying the
paint. The
whole reason
paint
I wanted to
doesn't
do
feel
this.
anything different just because it's a new design.
Sure it does. Yeah.
No, it
It does.
doesn't.
It gives you that new set of grumbles that you can use to revise your design.
Right. So you're saying the new set of grumbles is more valuable than the memorized grumbles.
That's right. Memorized grumbles. Well, the memorized grumbles have probably already made their way into your design, right? As you updated your
Right.
microcurrent. But you said that you wanted to get a pick and place to inspire more designs. I'm saying you should just go and make a small design, and then that'll also,
Yeah.
kickstart the
Right.
process.
Yeah. True. All right. In the meantime, I'm looking out for a pick and place machine. So if anyone sees one,
Okay. Yeah. I think
and that's how I found the one that one of my viewers sent me an email and said,
Oh, wow.
"Hey, check out this," because the whole eBay watch list thing is all screwed up now. So it's
Oh,
like I don't know what they did to it, but none of my watch lists bloody work anymore. So yeah, if you certainly if you know of one, please email me.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Send Dave a secretive message. The pick and place flies at midnight.
Because if one pops up, I will nab it, even if I don't have a design ready to do it. And then where's to put it, right? Because I originally my bunker, which is in another part of the business park, right? I can walk there, but you know, it's like I've got to get off my ass and walk there.
Sure.
Whereas my dungeon is downstairs.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, no, maybe I can put it in the dungeon downstairs because that would be easier. I can just go downstairs and, Yep.
Well, while you procrastinate buying a pick and place, I am procrastinating digging into this chip that we talked about on the show. I think maybe the last time as well. I did get the boards in, the 10-cent RISC-V chip. Did you get yours yet?
No, mine still. I have to check my PO box, but no, mine must.
Ether?
No, it hasn't turned up yet. So
yeah,
no,
the board maker is Quiznetec. QSZNTEC. But the reason I'm holding off is because I had figured, stupidly, I didn't look at the software tool chain because, of course, why would I? I had figured there was like a GCC port for this thing. I thought I was going to be able to pull pull down some open source tooling and get it going. No, that's not how it works. There's basically one Moon River, I think it's called MOUN River, Moon
Right.
something, Moon,
Morn
and
River.
it's like a Eclipse based Windows only IDE.
Right.
And there is a RISC-V compiler that targets this chip specifically, but there's nothing else. That's it. That's all you get, basically.
I could have sworn they mentioned a GCC compiler on that page we mentioned last time, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah, or maybe it's just not out in the, I don't know. All I've seen so far for it, and, it's been limited. I found like a channel out of Brazil who was doing some stuff with these parts. Not much else. There's not much on the internet about it yet, so.
Right.
That guy and our show talking about it, and then
is it. That's the entirety of the
internet. CNX page where it was announced. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I'm sure there's gonna, like, I saw a bunch of people talking about buying these parts when it was announced on CNX.
Yep.
The blog. So I'm sure we're going to see stuff soon, but I'm not exactly a bleeding edge kind of person myself, Dave, when it comes to firmware. So I gotta.
Well, that's the thing. Before I mentioned the 3-cent Puduk microcontroller, it was like, well, there was nothing out there on it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, whoa, everyone knows that there's these 3-cent micros, and they're starting to use them, and yeah.
Is there more tooling around it now too? Like, I think that's really the key thing when it starts to open up on tooling side.
Oh, I think there was it's been so long since I've worked on it now. I was going to get back into it recently because I've got I've got a project series that I'm working on, which is the bomb timer thing. Sorry,
right.
Not a bomb timer.
Not a bomb.
I was probably going to shoot part 3 of that today, maybe, but part 4 of that might be actually getting a 3-cent micro to actually control it. So
there you go. Cool. Yeah.
Because part 3 will be like showing a design that requires like 20 TTL chips or something to actually do it. And I can shrink those 20 TTL chips into one 3-cent micro. So
cool. Well, there's your first product, man. The Not a Bomb timer kit.
I don't think anyone wants a Not a Bomb timer kit.
Yeah. Even if they do, I don't know if you should sell it to them.
Yeah, right. Get a knock on the door by people in sunglasses, Yep. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
All right.
No, it is. I mean, it is interesting seeing like what's out there though. Like this, I should really know the name of the part. I think it's RV32, maybe. I don't even know how I find it. It's not on here, is it?
I can't.
From New Jersey, somewhere. Oh, there it is. Is it? Oh, it's a CH32. That's what it is. CH32, because it's done by WCH is the company out of China. So
yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, I'll do a video on it when my kit comes in. I'm sure I'll, do a hello world or something. And
cool. Encourage people to make open source tooling. It would really help me out. Okay.
Okay. All right. All right. Some nerd will write a GCC port.
Yeah, sure. Bingo.
Is GCC the main one, or are there others?
Are there other compilers?
Yeah, there are other open source C compilers.
LLVM, I believe, is one as well. Is that right?
Right.
LLVM. Yeah. Maybe that's not the compiler itself. Maybe that's just the stuff around it.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, Clang is another one, I guess. I don't,
Right.
Mostly, like I said, I'm just using other people's stuff. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. I'll encourage people to do a GCC port just for you.
Thanks.
So, yep.
Thanks, Dave.
I did install Linux the other day.
Really? Tell me about that. What for?
Yes. I installed Debian 11.
Okay.
Yep.
Onto just a computer?
Onto an old dumpster computer. Yep.
Okay.
Old dumpster Dell at the request of IT Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm going to set up a local mirrored secure backup for my server. So
okay. That's a good idea.
The plan.
So it'll kind of just sip down data and have a local copy.
Yes, it has have a local copy. Really I mean, it's already stored on 2 different locations, but I don't physically have it myself. So, yep. and because it's all secure, he said like he can't do it outside of a secure server because that breaks all the security of his automated
Yeah.
backup systems and everything, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
why, yeah, he said if you install Debian 11, then I've given him backdoor access to Debian 11, so then he can set it up and configure it, and yeah, it'll
Cool.
be auto mirrored and one of those incremental backup things. So
I'm doing a training on the 14th of December. So I've been doing trainings in person. I did one at SuperCon, and now I'm doing one remote
yeah,
again. And when I had people signing up for it, I asked, just like, what is your operating system? I asked what the parts they work on, all that kind of normal stuff you'd think,
right.
just kind of get a feel for what people. And, pretty consistently, I've seen like 60+% are like Windows users embedded. And like
Yep.
I've been Linux only for a year or two now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm okay with it. But I know that like the industry is still pushing forward
That
with
that that,
Windows
that doesn't
Windows first.
surprise me because people
Yeah.
ask me, "Oh, why don't you just use Linux?" I got no reason to use Linux, none.
Yeah.
Like personally, I got
That's
zero.
fine. And like
Right?
honestly, it's a personal preference too, right? I feel like that's such a big piece that people leave out is like
Yeah,
it comes I think it's like, it's what you're using every day. So like whatever you're most comfortable with is great. I'm
yeah.
actually just most excited that there's cross-platform support in a lot of tooling now. Like
Right.
VS Code and even Eclipse tools are often, compiled for each operating system, which is like that's
Mm-hmm.
all I've ever wanted, right? Like I want people to have choice, and I'd hope that each soft, it's a burden on the software maintainers, of
Yep.
course, right? And like I hear from the KiCad project about that, but like I think that ultimately makes it more accessible to everybody, and there's just you
Yeah.
never know what's going to be out there.
But people keep bitching on about bloody Linux, as in like
Oh,
I
sure. I mean,
have to,
yeah.
like I'm
No,
doing
no,
it
no,
wrong. I'm doing it wrong if I don't use Linux. It's like no, piss
no.
off, right?
Yeah, I think that's.
No, I've been
I don't
using
think that's right.
Windows for like what 30 years. It
Yeah,
works just
exactly.
fine. Yes, I don't bother upgrading to Windows 11 because why? I don't need to. Windows 10 has been working for how long's
Yeah,
Windows 10 been out? Right?
yeah.
It's been working fine for like a decade.
So, but the thing I'm curious about though is like it seems like in the industry as well, like that is also like embedded tooling generally is still very Windows focused.
Yeah.
And yet for a lot of the stuff that I think about like people needing to do, often I'm surprised
Yeah,
that
because you're in the hobby realm. You're in that sort of
well, not for work.
realm really where there is a rather large percentage of people dicking around with Linux and or that's their
Oh, that's
primary
why you're
system.
saying I see for the Linux
Yep.
side. Yeah. Yes, I
Right.
see. Yes, I think that there is that, but no, what I'm asking though is the Windows focus, right? Like historically, how did that become such a big thing? You know what I mean? Was it just
How
the
did Windows become a big
No,
thing?
I know what Windows was a big thing, but I'm saying as the default tooling for many of the chip companies that are out there, right? Like many of the chip companies didn't
Because Windows
offer.
is the platform. It's like Altium Designer, right?
Hmm.
When like that was originally on DOS, right? What do you go
Hmm.
to after that? You went to
Windows,
Windows,
yeah, yeah,
right? It was the platform. It was the
yeah,
only platform, right?
yeah, yeah. I guess if you're
Really.
trying to hit the
It
biggest the
was it
biggest
was
swath
Mac
of
and
people, yeah,
Windows. It was Mac and
yeah,
Windows. There was, yeah, Unix was around back then, right? But
sure,
no, that was some obscure university thing, right?
yeah,
So no, it's no. Windows was the only was the solid choice. It was the only choice, really. It was Mac or Windows.
yeah,
Choose your
yeah, yeah.
choose your poison, and
Yeah, I
Mac
guess
had
I
its
guess that
own,
makes sense from
you know.
like they would have wanted to target the biggest audience, so then they would have felt
Yeah,
like
of course.
even if there were benefits to having kind of like finer grain control on a command line basis. Like,
Yep.
I don't know if you've ever done any like command line compiling Windows. It's just very frustrating for me. Like, it's just like doing that from the Windows command prompt
Well,
is
I
like,
have.
yeah,
I've done
yeah,
some, and yeah, no, it's not.
yeah, not for
It's,
me.
no, but you know,
Yeah,
that isn't its thing. That's not its
yeah,
job. I've had to do it because there are
yeah,
some people who just write command line tools for Windows,
yeah.
right?
True,
Well,
true.
for DOS, it's not really. Well, Windows is the operating. I don't know. Is DOS still the underlying operating system? It's like
No, I don't
no,
think
it's
so.
not. It's Win. It's actually all based on WinNT. I think it's because NTFS, right? The NT file system. When you format a drive on a Windows machine, do you want FAT, which is the old school file allocation table, DOS, right? Or do you want NTFS, right? Which is NT, which is Windows NT file system. There is no Windows 11 file system. There's no Windows 10 file system. There's no Windows XP file system, right? It's NT. So it's all based on the operating system itself is Windows NT, I think. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, anyways, I've made the shift. I've been interested to kind of just. I think some of it is like my personal, kind of bias on it, just because I'm now working on Linux stuff all day, and so kind of looking back in my old self and that sort of thing. So, anyways, it's not. It's like I said, it's not right or wrong. It's just what people prefer. And like I said, I think it's actually really great that all the chip companies are they're all producing tooling that works on multiple platforms. I think that's the most important thing.
Sure.
So
yep.
Yeah.
But you are going to cop the less grief. You are going to cop least amount of grief if you have a Windows. If you only had to release one version, you would release it for Windows, right? You're going to have the least amount of grief. So
increasingly so, I think a lot of the chip companies are moving to VS Code versus Eclipse as well, which is, I like VS Code. It's nice. It's kind of busy. It's like, but so is Eclipse, to be honest. So, yeah.
And VS Code that's under Linux as well, is it?
Yeah, that's cross-platform.
Oh yeah, yep. I can see. Yep.
Mac Linux. Actually, the really cool thing. I don't know if you've been on. I know you're not on GitHub much, but if you go to a Git repo, I'm sure people know what's coming if they've heard this before. If you go to a Git repository, and then you hit the period key, it's pretty cool. You should do that.
GitHub.
Let me send you a link. I'll send you a link in the chat here.
Oh, I was going to go to my own GitHub, but okay, you can send me a link.
Yeah.
Send me a link.
Okay, it's in the chat.
It's in the chat. Okay.
Yeah.
We've got two different systems going on here. GitHub. What do I do?
Oh, this works. Oh, it's not working. You're supposed to go to repo and then usually you hit period. Maybe I'm doing this wrong.
Where's repo?
The link I sent you is a repo. It's a
repository,
okay.
Right,
so that's
yes.
like a link to
so I'm in here.
Code.
Yes.
Yep.
Now what do I do?
Now you usually hit period and it should go. Maybe you have to be logged in. Anyways, it actually pops up a VS Code window in the browser as well.
Period, as in dot.
Yeah.
No, nothing happens.
Yeah.
Nothing happens. Sorry.
I should have tried this. Should have tried this first.
What was supposed to happen?
It's supposed to open up a VS Code in the browser. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you would have to select a file first, wouldn't you? No.
No. It actually pops up VS Code is like an IDE, right? So it actually pops up the file navigation on the left side. It actually pops up the code.
Yep.
Maybe you have to be maybe you're right. Actually, maybe it does have to be a file.
Maybe I have to be signed in. Hang on, I'll sign in. Oh, yep. You have to be signed in. Setting up your web editor. There you go.
Yeah,
yep. It did absolutely. It didn't even tell me before. Like, it'd be nice if you go, and editor will pop up if you sign in.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, that is pretty cool. Okay, so I'm now into your Goliath ESP thing.
Yeah, it was just the first link I had. I mean,
right. And where's your main? Where's your main dot? There's no main.
My login's still not working, so I'm getting authentication code like usual. Actually, Alicia and Chris over at Embedded FM were talking about this as well. Okay. Chris was talking about the workspaces thing, and it's pretty cool because you can actually now you have a web-based IDE, right? So like you could do that sort of thing. Right. And then some of the stuff I've been working on some containers where you could basically like install your entire tool chain into a container and then link that and use that on the GitHub. Man, nothing is working on my phone right now. Oh,
so I'm actually in VS Studio at the moment, am I?
VS Code. Yeah, it's like the web
VS Code. Right, it's web VS Code because they own GitHub, don't they?
Microsoft owns GitHub, that's right. Yeah.
Right, yeah, okay.
Yeah. But actually, you can install this on your own stuff as well, right? So actually...
Right. Okay.
The training I mentioned, I have like a web version. How to explain it? Basically, all the tooling is installed on the server that I run. And then you basically log into a browser, like a desktop in the browser. And then you can actually open VS Code from in there as well.
Right. Cool.
Which is pretty cool.
Okay. I didn't know that. That was pretty groovy.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is like a trend. So like GitHub's doing this. There's another one called Gitpod does this.
Right.
And there's like all these tooling companies where basically you don't just, it's almost kind of like how we've talked about.
Some
like,
of my code's on the lab. Some of my code's on GitLab, I think.
Oh, GitLab, yep. So they have stuff as well.
Yeah, it does. Okay.
And so the idea though is that you actually like store your entire tool chain with your code, right? So you think about like the problem of not having your tools up to date, right? If you have like an old version of an IDE on your laptop or something, then you or you have to reformat your laptop and your code was built on this old stuff and it doesn't work on the new version. You actually store all the tooling with your code as well, which is really great for like long-term stuff. Okay. A lot of people say like, oh, I could just make a VM and store everything in there. And it's like, yeah, you can do that, but that's actually really like heavy because then you need to have like a whole Windows image or Linux image and basically all of the UI elements in addition to just the compiler and, the tooling that pops out of it. So, yeah.
All right. Okay. I don't know how to do it on my GitLab because I've got my micro supply code in GitLab. And
okay. Yeah.
It's, I don't know. Well, can I just do dot? Maybe, I can. Yeah. Dot.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Dot works. Yeah.
Yeah,
dot works. Yeah. Hang on. Make and review changes browser. Yep. Source.
Oh, cool.
Yep. There it is. Main.cpp. Yep. Although it's not as color syntax highlighted like the one over on GitHub.
Like it doesn't detect that it's a C++ file.
Yeah, which is kind of disappointing. Although it's got one, it puts the text in quotes, it puts those in red, but everything else is just in black. So,
yeah, maybe it knows only certain extensions or something.
It's C++. So
yeah, I mean, you'd think they know that.
CPP, yeah, you would think it would think you'd know it, or at least do basic syntax highlighting.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool bananas. There you go. I learned something.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So Alicia and Chris were talking about that on a recent show. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, so CodeSpaces is like the GitHub thing where you basically not only now when you upload your, basically it's like a script file that basically says, here's, go install all of these prerequisites and then go install this tool chain. And you store that with your file.
Right.
Then it'll also like rent you servers, right? So basically Microsoft also runs Azure, right? Started by former guest Ray Ozzie, among others at Microsoft. And so you can basically you could really juice it up. You can throw like through 32 cores at a compilation if you wanted to, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool.
All right.
Code.
Yeah, boring. No, this is not the embedded amp hour.
I know.
Sorry. Yep.
Yeah, it's all right.
News. Do we have any other news?
Oh, I don't know. In my life, putting up Christmas lights. You were talking about you putting up Christmas lights. That's some news in my life.
Yep.
I realize that is not what you were talking about, but
no. Well, we were just briefly talking about this before the show. How if you wanted to automate your lights, how would you do it? It's like, how many off-the-shelf solutions would there be for automating something like that? Dozens and dozens. Right?
Yeah, there's a lot more than there used to be.
Yeah. It's just and there's so many there's so many automated systems that aren't even intended for that application, but you could certainly use them for that application, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's just countless ones. How do you decide which system to use to I guess you just have to, I don't know,
read the reviews. Yeah,
pick one.
Yeah, personally, I'm not doing that.
On
my old coworker,
Christmas lights forums, and get.
I guess so.
Yeah. Oh no, this one sucks. It had so many issues with the drivers, and no, it's
Yeah.
Yep.
It's reached a fever pitch too. Like the fact that it is commercially available for a lot of people. Like my old coworker back in my Keithley days, so it must have been like 2010. It was like before a lot of the commercial systems were available. He built his all from scratch. And
right.
And he had relays and he was switching all himself.
And use your own micro and you code it from scratch. And
totally.
Yep.
Yeah,
no.
It was.
You totally wouldn't do that now. I mean, there's just
these
many.
days, no, hell no. No, it's not worth it.
No.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many systems that are out there and they're
So many.
Yeah. But it depends what you're interested in the project for.
Any of the off-the-shelf automated things, your National Instruments, automated IO cards
Oh
and,
god. National
everything else,
Instruments.
right? If you
Oh
wanted
my
to spend
god,
an
Dave.
absolute fortune, right? No, but I'm saying you could,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you totally could. Yeah, it would be
Right?
really, really expensive. My goodness.
But yeah, like,
Yeah.
there's so many systems like that.
Install my old ABB distributed control system work in,
Yeah.
in a control closet somewhere, and yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, control some big relays and just really, really flop on the current.
Ladder logic.
Yeah, there you go.
Wasn't there something coming? Was it Arduino released? Is
That's
that on
right.
the
Yeah,
list? Is that
that is
what
on the
was that?
list.
That's where I saw it. Okay, it was on the list.
Yeah,
Arduino released a. Now I'm going to have to find it now. It's a programmable logic controller, so it's a PLC.
yeah.
Arduino unveils the Opta, the first micro PLC. How is it the first micro PLC for the industrial Internet of Things? That's got to be a bullshit claim.
Yeah, that
Come on.
is definitely. I mean, I think it's. I think they're saying size maybe. I don't know. Maybe
Oh,
I don't know.
no, come on. There's got to be something.
Yeah, so I've talked to Arduino about this, and I know some of the folks there, and they're good folks. I'm a little confused about what they're So I am glad to see actually that they're embracing ladder logic. I think that's one. They're trying to go into this really industrial segment, and I thought they were going to be asking people to do like Arduino coding, and I was like,
no,
that's just not how
that's what I
people
thought
operate.
at first. I actually clicked on the link and I went, please say you're doing ladder logic because otherwise it's just a joke, right? And sure enough, yep, they have.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like table stakes for if you're getting in the industrial industry, and like whatever you feel about ladder logic, it's like that's just what is used, and so yeah, I don't
to control your lift. When you get in a lift and you hit the button, and that's what's controlling your lift and other automated
elevator
things,
for all the non-Aussies or
elevator.
Palms.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, they support that. They support functional block diagrams. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it is interesting. And so like Arduino, I think we mentioned back when they raised a bunch of money, they raised a Series B for $32 million from Bosch. And so like them going into the industrial sector that starts to make sense then, it's like, oh, Bosch is also industrial.
Yes.
So like, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, you can get Bosch PLCs,
Yeah.
I think you can. Did I? Yeah. I think I used a Bosch way back in the day.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bosch PLC, are they still making them? Oh, Siemens. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Siemens,
Alan Bradley and
Alan
Siemens
Bradley's
is not Bosch. Oh my gosh, Dave.
Well, that's what popped up when I googled
half of Germany screamed out in pain.
No, it's okay. Yeah. Yeah, Bosch make PLCs. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense to bring some of that in house. I doubt they manufacture at their highest end facilities. They probably rebadge a bunch of stuff, and that's great. And
sorry to all you Bosch Rexroth fanboys. The Bosch Rexroth.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like it's its own sub market segment too. Like it's just there's who was it? John Davis, my old friend from Cleveland. He was on the show many years ago talking about he's in the industrial sector. He sells into that sector a lot, and like it's basically like applied electronics in like very extreme scenarios. But it's not like what's interesting is I think Arduino is going to try and pull kind of more complex stuff into that space. And then there is already complex stuff in that space, don't get me wrong. But I think they're going to try and do it kind of as an all-in-one, like a shrunk down kind of version, because Arduino's doing a bunch of machine vision stuff and Linux on things and whatever. So one thing that's interesting about the Opta, I think, is a little bit smaller, but a lot of the Arduino stuff is now like it's beefy. It's running like, Linux, like a Linux plus a Cortex M7, so just like really heavy duty stuff on there. So it'll be interesting to see where that falls in the marketplace.
Yep. Because people don't realize how huge that market is, right? Yeah. Unless you've worked in it, you just like it is enormous. The programmable logic and the programmable controls market, I guess, is I think more of the correct term, is just absolutely enormous. It controls all your industrial robotics, and it probably helped launch the latest Artemis rocket. And it's just like nobody.
I mean,
does
every
this,
factory, right? You think about any kind of like anything where stuff's
factory,
moving, anything where there's stuff switching.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep. and there's safety interlocks, and that's all programmable logic controls, right? Nobody has like a Linux PC controlling that sort of stuff, right?
No.
It's just no, they're embedded programmable logic controls.
Yep.
So
what's interesting is I think there's also a lot of brand loyalty. Like I can't imagine.
Oh yeah.
Like when I imagine people. So actually, Jeff, who I used to do the engineering commons with, he's a machine builder, and like my experience hearing about this, not like that, and I've never done this, but like it does seem like it's like you're basically using these electronics as a tool to just get the job done. It doesn't matter like
totally.
The actual features. And there's not a lot of specsmanship type of stuff. It's just
no.
Can I get it? Can I get it at a good price? And like, do I understand how to use it already? And so like,
well, you don't even get it in like the good price thing doesn't even factor into it, really.
Yeah.
Seriously, it doesn't.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Oh, I'm sure there's some areas where it might, but generally no. It's like, what am I experienced with? What is the most reliable? What has never let me down?
Yeah, right. Reliability is a big one too.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yep. And so I just think like brand loyalty is another thing where it's like if you're trying to break into the market, that's another tough piece of it. Where if you're like, even if you have a big brand name like Arduino, you don't have a big brand name in the machine space yet. So I think that's going to be uphill for them, unfortunately. But we'll see where it goes. I hope they do well.
Well, I was going to say they should have even ditched the Arduino name.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Like they've called it Opta, have they? Is it the Opta?
I think that's the product name, yeah.
The product name is Opta, but they've still got the Arduino Pro branding on there. I think that is not a good thing for the industrial space. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, for those who don't know, like, if you're controlling robotics or something else, you're controlling your elevator and, things like that, you want to control your rocket launch and stuff like that, you don't want to be dicking it. Like, you want this to work and you want it to work for decades. Right?
Yep.
This is not something you control from a general purpose computer, right? Because general purpose computers are code bloated, right? They're not designed specifically for the task. They got driver issues, they got update issues, all sorts of. They're just not designed for that task. Whereas these are embedded modules that are not only high reliability, but in terms of hardware, but software. The firmware in there as well. Their little mini operating system that they run in there. And it's just, it's highly vetted, highly optimized for like, it is never going to, right? And if you buy a Bosch or an Allen Bradley programmable logic controller, it's never going to lock up, right? Locking up is not a thing.
I can get anything to lock up, Dave.
Right. Okay. Well, that's bad programming on your logic code, right? It's just right? It is not a thing, right? And then they'll have fallback procedures. Like I was in the the elevator the other day, right? And it actually went to the first floor when it shouldn't have, and it stopped there for a couple of seconds. It didn't even open the doors; it just stopped there because that's been programmed in as the reset level. And I've been trapped in the lift before, right? And the system resets itself after a certain amount of time, and that's its default reset position. It always goes back to that, and then clunk, 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 it resets itself and all the sensors, whoop, and it continues on, right? So
better than having a reset state that's like now like, entering free fall.
Hey, you've got the blue screen of death. Sorry,
evaluating gravity.
It's just oh man.
Yeah.
No, it's just that these things are just super reliable. Worst thing you can do when you're controlling stuff like this is to use a general purpose PC to do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's Linux, doesn't matter if it's PC or something else. It's like, nope, you're using the wrong tool for the job. So,
Yep.
Anyway, programmable logic controllers, great. Fun stuff.
Yeah, it's cool. See how they do.
All right.
I'm not realizing when is the last time we did a show together? It's been a while, right?
No, 3
weeks. Because I skipped for that's what it was. I skipped for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And then I did a show last week.
Yep.
Yeah. It's been a while on the list as well.
All right.
So what else we did that one. There was another one I wanted to mention. Punch card? No, we talked about that. Oh, this new Sony part. Nobody upvoted this, but this thing is a friggin' beast. Like literally nobody voted this up except for me.
Right.
But you know what?
Okay.
We run the show, folks. Guess what? We get to talk about what we want. The Sony Alt 1350. I don't even understand.
I'm looking at it.
So it's on the list as a CNX link. So
Yep,
CNX is a great
I'm
blog
looking at
too.
it. Okay.
Jean-Pierre? No. Jean, who?
Once again,
Jean-Luc.
it's Internet of Things,
Jean-Luc.
folks. It's Internet
Oh,
of
yeah, of
Things
course it is.
alert. Warning, warning.
Yeah. But here's the thing. This thing has here. Listen to all the things this has. Cortex M4, Cortex M0 Plus, right? So you could do like a little bit of sensing, detection, and then you have your main processor here. It's got a dual band cellular modem in it. It's got GPS. It's got a 2.4 gigahertz 802.15.4, so you could do thread or ant or whatever the other stuff is, or just raw 802.15.4.
I'm looking at the feature list now. Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's also got a sub gig, so that means that this is basically meant for like the smart meter market, which if you want to use it for that.
Yep.
But basically, this thing's going to be able to talk any of these things, and it also has, I think, Wi-Fi. Does it have Wi-Fi? I think it has Wi-Fi for detecting location as well. Yeah, an integrated Wi-Fi SSID based location. So like your phone doesn't normally get GPS readings to get like precise location. It actually gets it from like a hotspot database and seeing how close you are to other hotspots, which is insane in its own right. But it's got all of this stuff. So this thing basically can tell you where you are in space. It can talk to a bunch of different sensors, and it can be an embedded device. It's insane.
It doesn't have Wi-Fi generically as a Wi-Fi interface. Right. It's just part of the location mapping thing.
That's right. Yeah. So basically, it'll use the 2.4 gigahertz radio probably, and then just listen for hotspots. Yeah. Wi-Fi. Yeah.
And it's got a secure element built in as well. So wow.
Yeah. I think that's going to be. I will actually be surprised when chips don't have secure elements built in the near future. I think that's the new de rigueur of all of these connectivity things.
It doesn't actually come from, it's a Sony part, but it actually that looks like Sony bought an Israeli company called Altair Semiconductor. Good stuff.
That's right. Yep.
Altair. Yep. Classic.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So it looks like they developed this. Wow.
This is a beast. I mean, like, I'm very excited about this part. We'll see when it comes out and how much it costs and all that other stuff. But like, basically, the 1250, the one that's before this, is one of the smallest cellular modems you can get for. I mean, it's like 12 millimeters by 12 millimeters. Like, it's insane. Yeah, like how small these things are getting. So
wow.
And that's actually that's this chipset, but then in a module from Murata. So,
right. That's external antenna though, right? That's not internal antenna.
Oh yeah, everything's external. Yeah, the antennas are big. Yeah.
No, I mean, you could do. I tore down something recent. Bluetooth lock. I tore down the Bluetooth lock here, and that used an internal antenna
for Bluetooth.
Yes, it was on the chip.
Yeah. Oh, on the chip. Oh,
it was on the chip. It was embedded on the chip. Yes.
What kind of range did they claim?
That was fairly standard, I thought. You could get the 10 meters or whatever.
Huh. Okay. That's great. Yeah, that's on the chip. That's very
onto
impressive.
The chip.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
Yeah, because it's inside a metal can, right?
Yeah.
This is like a safe lock, right? So it's inside a secure metal can. And I figured, how do they get the Bluetooth signal out of the not only inside the can but the safe, right? Because it's inside, so it's
metal brick.
It's inside it's inside a stainless steel case that's inside a steel safe, right?
Somewhere an RF engineer is just weeping.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually talked to the
designer.
We don't
understand RF.
Right. And I actually talked to the designer. He phoned me up, right? And we had, unfortunately, he didn't want to be on camera or whatever, but he didn't want to be recorded. But anyway, I was talking to him for like ages. He said, so I thought, because it uses external batteries, right? So the external battery is outside the safe because you have to change the batteries, right? So I thought, maybe they're using the ground wire or the positive wire as a secret, antenna. Yeah. That's part of the Bluetooth antenna. He said, nope, it's on the chip. And sure enough, when I did the teardown, it uses this all-in-one Bluetooth chip. And the antenna's built onto the chip. There is no external connection.
You're saying it's a silicon antenna? Silicon antenna.
Well,
that's crazy.
I don't know how they do it inside the chip, I don't know, but
so it might be a SIP, like a.
It could be like a separate layer with an actual antenna on top of the die. I don't know physically how they do it inside.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very cool. And he said, no, we don't all we do is rely on the fact that it gets attenuated by an incredible amount, and you have to be like 30 centimeters away from the safe for it to work, but it works. And it's like, okay. And well, of course, it's going to seep out. Like, you're going to have the RF actually jumping onto the ground and positive wires and then coming out as sort of like a passive radiator kind of thing, right? So there's going to be some RF happening there, right? But no, it's built on
I got to look this up. I'd like to see this, actually.
So okay. Right.
Which review is this?
Yep, I will.
All right, Dave's going to send me a link. Well, I'll just check it out later, but that's cool.
Yeah. I will save locks. The art of safe locks. Yes.
Yeah. And the last thing on this part is they say that it could talk to satellites, which I'm very surprised about. But I think it says satellite connectivity, which is like, wait, is sending messages up to satellites? I think the only thing that could possibly would be with that is if it's running in like the sub-gig radio was doing like a chirp and talking up. Like, there's a bunch of stuff where like there's like LoRa satellites now, which is super cool, but also hard to fathom. The fact that like these little tiny chips are sending stuff up to the satellites, but cool. I'll take it.
Okay.
All of the connectivity, please. Thank you very much.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Artemis is coming back tomorrow. Is it tomorrow?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did a watch video thing for that, right? I didn't see it live.
For the
I think
launch.
I was traveling.
I don't know if I'll do one. It's coming back on the 16th or the 19th. Could be the 19th of December. It's coming back.
That's like next
and
week.
I think either yesterday or today, don't quote me on this, I've been meaning to check. I was meaning to check before the show, but it is the 50th anniversary of when we last set foot on the moon. Gene Cernan last set foot on the moon. Yes, I think it has been its 50 years.
Sounds like that might be on purpose. They might have done that.
Right. But yeah, so anyway, that's very cool. And who I have actually met, by the way. I've met Gene Cernan. He's very cool.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
Yes, I met Gene Cernan, and he went to the moon twice. Not once, twice.
Man.
So, yep.
Imagine.
He went on Apollo 10, so he flew around the back of the moon, did the whole dress rehearsal thing, got down within 5 Ks of the surface or something like that, and then went back up and went, yep, everything seems to work.
The moon's there.
Yeah.
I saw it.
And and then Apollo 11 landed, and then he commanded Apollo 17, which was the last. So he was like there, and being the commander, he was the first off and the last back on. So he was literally the last man to set foot on the moon. So
wow.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, there you go. So that's been 50 years exactly, I think. And we still haven't gone back.
Yeah, it is kind of weird that it's been so long.
Yeah.
But it's good they're doing it again. I guess that's a good first step. Much like Dave re-entering the world of designing electronics. We were once again going to the moon.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And we don't do this because it's hard. We do it because we like doing electronics.
Because we are nerds. Oh, boy. Yep.
Sorry for the bad JFK accent.
No, that's all right. Need more southern twang,
No, he's from Boston, man.
Is he?
The JFK? Yeah, JFK was that was a Boston accent.
Oh, I thought he was
like really heavy Boston accent.
Okay. Right. All right.
What should we talk about the rest of the show? Oh, you know what I want to talk about? I know. The Grid. I want to talk about the Grid.
Go.
So I'm almost done with the book called The Grid. First off, I found out I looked up the author. I was like, oh, well, maybe we should have her on the show. And then I found out she's actually an anthropologist versus I thought she was going to be like an electronics nerd.
Right.
And I think, if you do that much research on the Grid, you are by default. But she's actually interested in like systems and how they interconnect. And I was like, oh, that's
interesting.
And so
okay.
I would still be interested in talking to her, but she actually finished the book in 2016 and she moved on to other projects.
Oh, okay. Right. Probably doesn't care.
Yeah, I don't know how much she talks about it anymore. But anyways, it's a great book. I am very curious about like she writes in there a lot about the like kind of the weaknesses of the grid system and just how things are changing with renewables entering. And this was 2014, 2015. She was writing about it, came out in 2016. And so and that's just like skyrocketed in the meantime. And
look, the problem with the grid is that we take it for granted.
Oh, totally.
Right.
Yeah.
And especially grid security. I think grid security is hugely underrated.
Yeah. Well, given
Recently,
that
there's
about
been recent
70 miles
news.
from here, I was gonna say
Yeah.
70 miles from here,
Oh,
some
okay. It's actually
jackasses went and shot up a substation. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it was
I'm
like,
surprised that it's taken that long. I'm surprised like
well,
people
I
haven't
mean,
done that
there's not
before.
really a reason to do it.
No, there's not. But I
But
mean,
there are a lot of people that are bad actors, I'd say, and yeah. So yeah, from that perspective, I agree with you that like it is surprising there aren't more attacks on it,
yep.
and the interconnectedness, like, and how it all ties together,
Well,
like so
even from if you just even if you take out the humans out of the loop, right? A solar flare could like really screw us. I know they can detect those come in, and they can take measures to sort of protect the grid. I'd love to talk to an expert on that, by the way.
yeah, like how to
That'd
actually
be
protect for
yeah,
solar
how to
flares.
actually protect the grid. If there's a massive Harrington event level grid,
Mm,
right, thing, then yeah, I want to know how well we're actually protected. So,
yeah.
yeah. Hmm. Anyway, I am. Looks like my backup battery thing's happening. Hopefully, that'll happen this
Oh, you
year.
are?
My
Oh,
home
interesting.
storage,
Yeah.
yes, because Fronius have said that they're going to send me a hybrid inverter. So
Cool.
I'm
Okay.
gonna have a Fronius hybrid inverter, and that hooks up. Unfortunately, it only hooks up to one brand of batteries, which is the Chinese BYD one,
Mm.
which is a great battery. They're like the biggest storage manufacturer in the world, I think.
Uh-huh.
Battery storage
Uh-huh.
manufacturer in the world, so they're really good batteries, but they're
Yeah.
but there's no choice, right? It only talks to those batteries, right? So I
Is
have
because
to
they
buy
have
those.
some kind of like firmware on them that you have
They've got
to.
firmware on them. Yeah, you've got to talk
Mm,
to the management system, right, of the
I see.
batteries. You've got to, yep, yep. So they've got to be
Got it.
firmware. They have to be firmware supported. So yeah, usually when you buy a hybrid inverter or a battery storage inverter system, it usually only works with one or several brands of batteries. You can't just, well, yeah, you might be able to install just any kind of battery, but then the management doesn't work, and things like that. So, yep.
Yeah.
And then that'll tie in with my solar analytics system as well. My solar analytics system only supports one brand of hybrid inverter for battery
Huh.
management, and it happens to be Fronius. So,
Oh,
cool.
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So, yeah. So, hopefully, I will actually straight after this, I've got to email them, and they said they'd
Yeah.
send me one. I went, yeah, beauty. Okay, I'll start ordering batteries and find someone to install the whole thing and put some more panels up. And so I'll have, a battery storage.
I think after reading this book, I think the main thing I feel is just kind of like the the fact that we're susceptible to, like anything that the grid happens, we're all tied together to this grid, right? And anything that
Yeah.
happens on there, a normal outage, whatever, we're just all impacted by it. And
Yep.
obviously my entire livelihood is based on electricity, not to mention my hot water and everything else. Like it's just everything's electrified. And so it's like,
Everyone's is. It's not just your
yeah,
daily thing. It's like if
yeah,
the grid
it's everything. Yeah.
goes down, everything stops. Like transport stops.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Right? Yes, okay, we've got some fuel, to power the trucks, but how do they pump the fuel into the trucks?
Right.
Electricity,
Exactly.
right?
Yep. Yep.
I mean, it's like
Yep.
everything
Yep.
stops. So you start starving pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
If the grid,
Yeah. Exactly.
if there's a solar flare that literally takes down the grid for a month, we are screwed.
Yeah.
We are absolutely
Well, okay,
screwed.
so this we were talking about the bad actor events and stuff like that, and actually I just got to this part last night, and I found it on my copy here. So here's some of the numbers. In 2014, there were 77 serious power outages in the United States due to severe weather, and that's
Right.
serious power outages, not just like small things.
Right.
Another 17 due to fuel shortages, usually the result of supply chain problems like congestion on rails, and 66 that were the result of
Hang
physical
on,
attack.
fuel. How do the fuel problems happen?
Like coal wasn't delivered
Oh,
to a
okay. You're talking about
plant.
coal. You're not talking about
Yeah,
substation, right? Okay,
that's
you're
right.
talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
right.
But this is also substations. 66 were the result of physical attack, only 2 of which were cyber attacks.
Wow, wow.
Yeah. Did you know
66
there was also? Yeah, here we go. In April of 2013, I
How?
had not heard about this.
Like,
In
because
April
apparently this recent event where they shot it up is the first time somebody shot it up. So how are
Nope.
these other physical
Nope.
events happening? No?
Nope. Here we go. In April of 2013, I hadn't heard about this. In April of 2013, a van load of masked men with submachine guns shot the rural
What?
installation to bits, not at random. They targeted key bits of the substation's mechanics, like snipers against infrastructure,
Whoa!
shot by shot, destroying 17 of the substation's large transformers. These men were
Whoa!
never caught, and their know-how and malice made an impression. Though nobody
What?
talks about it, our physical infrastructure is not just exposed to weird weather, it's also shockingly vulnerable to weird people. Well said. Like,
There
this
is a
is out there.
film in that. There's a film, like, I would
Surely,
watch
but they've
that,
never caught
right?
these guys. There's nothing there. But
Yeah, but
how
what was
does
their
ho
what was their motive? What
nobody knows. Like, they took out Silicon Valley. It was probably something around that. I mean, maybe it who I have no
was
idea.
something happening at the time? Was there
I don't
was
know.
there
April
an
of
election?
2013?
Was
Nope.
there something else that they were trying to, like,
Yeah, I'm sure
shut
there's
down?
writing
Like,
about this, I'm
there
sure, but,
has to be. There has to be.
I know. But, this and, the fact that, they're just now putting up fences, around some of these places.
Right. Yeah, the
Yeah, and,
fences. Well, fences
and
aren't gonna keep out the bullets,
that's right. That's right.
because they're chain
That's
link
right,
fences,
folks.
right?
Dave understands American.
I do understand them now. I speak fluent American. Yep. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. No, this
Ah,
so this is one segment of the book, and like I said, I just read it, so it's fresh in
wow.
my mind. But it is interesting. Just the whole book is interesting, so I do recommend it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a little slow in parts, and it feels like a little weird in part. Not weird. It's a little political in parts. It's like the
Right.
author is
Okay.
definitely bringing very strong judgments about certain things, not others. But I think honestly, it's just it's very matter of fact speaking about a lot of things, and
Excellent.
that's okay. And
Yeah. That's great.
it's not been super frustrating. So,
Excellent.
and then you get stuff like this where I didn't know in April 2013 this stuff happened.
No. Wow. I'm gonna have to. Is there any info on there and on this thing
Not
out there at
not
all?
not in the book,
None.
but I'm sure on the internet there is. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay. Oh, wow.
There you go, Dave. That's an easy video right there.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
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 No. Anyway, no, I'm more like physical attacks and stuff like that. Yeah, it's like, unless you had some, nationwide thing, it's not gonna, like, it's really hard to organize, like,
No.
like a team of 100
Oh no, Dave.
armed
It would
people
take.
to
There was another thing in here. It said we would only have to take out 15 of these things, and then
right.
because of how the grid readjusts, it would actually take out a large swath of the country.
Yes. Oh yeah. If you knew where to
15.
hit them. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
If
not
you
that.
totally knew where to hit them, but I'm saying it's kind
Yeah,
of difficult to get that many people organized to take down the grid,
I see.
right?
Yeah, hopefully people aren't that big of dicks, right? That would
Yeah,
be.
exactly.
I
I
know.
mean,
Yeah.
like, you can't just be in a, I don't know, a gang or something and go, yeah, let's just take down the entire country. Like, it's like maybe, but
Yeah.
I'm just not seeing the motive there, right?
Yeah.
I'm not seeing the motive and the will to do it. But
Oh, and
oh yeah,
people
totally.
are terrible.
Yeah,
But
people
yeah,
are, but getting people as groups
yeah,
to be
yeah.
terrible physically like that is really difficult, I think.
I
No,
um,
you disagree?
I disagree. I disagree.
Really? You think it would be easy to find 30 of your friends who, let's go grab our, AR-15s and go and take down the grid? Really? You think it'd be easy to
Well, I don't have
find
30
that many
friends,
people?
nor
Right.
nor do I have any friends with AR-15s, but I do think there are certain groups in the U.S. that, yeah, I think there would be.
Yeah, but what's the
Unfortunately, yeah.
motive?
Chaos. That's what I'm really hoping is
Yeah,
that there isn't
exactly,
motive,
right?
No.
That's
I'm just saying that if the will was there, I think the method is there. Unfortunately, I think
yeah,
it's a big
totally.
deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. But anyway, no, I'm more concerned with the solar flare is what I'm saying, basically.
Oh,
I'm more
I'm
concerned
yeah.
with the sun burping and we have a
The
bad
sun's
day,
burping.
right?
Yeah. I mean that is probably in terms of singular events. Yeah, that would definitely be very detrimental.
Yes.
But I think
Because
the more
it takes it out on a global scale, right?
Sure.
It's just not,
Sure.
county or state or national, it's like, yeah, okay, you're saying what, you take out 15 substations and you can take out the whole of the US, whole of the
Eastern
continental,
seaboard, let's say.
Eastern Sea, right? You can take out an entire
And I'm
Eastern
gonna
seaboard,
get calls after this.
It's like,
Yeah, we can't air this thing, man. I am not planning to do this personally. Just so we're all clear.
right.
Do not think I'm doing this. I don't want this to happen. please don't knock on my door.
Oh boy. Mention the First Amendment and they're going to come knocking.
Nah.
All right. Okay. All right. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. All right. Anyway, yeah, I'm more concerned with the bigger
solar flare
scale disruptions. Yep.
Yep.
Anyways,
this book is great.
Okay. All right.
Other things that I learned from it were things like how deregulation ended up working, and I actually didn't have a good feel for how like utilities were run back in or really these days as well, but basically the transitions from like traditional utilities in the US, and this is a very US centric book, I should also say.
Right.
So this is US grid, not other countries, so take that with a grain of salt. But I didn't realize how deregulation actually impacted things like these days, because of how deregulation works, often like the power that I consume will actually be like purchased from a plant that's much further away. It's not like locally generated often. Often it's like generated, so basically like a plant,
right,
or like a, maybe a nuclear plant in Georgia or wherever the closest one is, says, hey, we have all this excess power. We're putting on the market at this price. Yep. My local energy company says, I'd like to buy that. And then they say, okay, we're going to transport this across, the high voltage lines all the way down the grid.
Spoiler alert. That's why they call it the grid.
Yeah. But like the economic aspect of it, I didn't quite understand. I kind of assumed that the power I'm using is the power that was generated locally, but it's not necessarily the case. Yeah. So I'm just learning a lot of things here, Dave. I guess I should probably maybe put them into.
Well, there's a lot of people who like whenever I say I've got a solar powered car, right? Solar panels on my roof actually power my car, and I get so many people saying, no, that's bullshit. Right? It's coming from the grid. It's the actual electrons generated. They're coming from the grid, right? And I'm going, no, I've got a current meter. Current either flows into my house or out of my house. Okay,
right.
Current
it's not 100% solar, but
no,
I was actually
it's 100%.
I was watching that video with your My Energy, whatever the thing was.
Yeah.
And it was like 62 at the time you filmed
but
that video.
no, generally it's like 99.
Yeah, so like sunny days,
right?
For sure, right? I mean, it's why wouldn't
no,
it
be? It's basically 100. It's near 100. The only time it's not going to be is when you've maximized your other consumption in the house as well. Right.
Yep.
So
you run the dryer,
and then you've got because there is a control loop which has a couple of seconds actually delay before it. The car compensates, so the car adjusts its charging level based on the PWM output of the thing, and and there's a control loop there. But if we've got tons of excess solar, there's no question about it. I've got a current meter. It's exporting to the grid. It's not importing anything. So I'm consuming all of that power locally. It's like trust me, a current meter doesn't lie, right?
They take umbrage with the fact that you're saying that the electrons are coming from the panels versus
they
the
come
grid?
from they go, no, it actually comes from the grid. It's all bullshit. And it's going, no, if you've got a literal current meter in there.
Do I have to go and unhook my grid connection just to show you jokers?
Just to prove you. The current meter is current's flowing out to the grid.
Good.
Right?
That's right.
It's like, oh my God. Anyway. People just don't get it.
People on the internet are antagonistic for no reason sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Shock horror. Yeah. By the way, you are going to lose your bet.
You think?
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, maybe. You know what?
Yep.
I will be funding the first round of Dave Gadgets running RISC-V processors. So if I lose, I lose.
All right. I may substitute in the 3-cent micro.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just put it at $100.
So $100 worth of 3-cent micros gets me a lot of micros. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, sure.
Excellent. Great. All right. Done.
We'll see how it goes. In the meantime, you can find me at chaos.social. I cross-post to Twitter, but I'm not on there any
yes, you should make the announcement that your tweets, you still do cross-post to Twitter, but you don't read anything there anymore, right?
That's right. Yep.
Right. So if people actually reply to you on Twitter, you won't see it.
That's right. You can call me whatever name you like, also known as Twitter.
Luddite.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's always been like that.
Anyway, you can certainly contact me on Twitter. I'm there all day, every day.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well, thank you once again. We should once again thank our unknowing patron of our subreddit, Unmanaged 615, regularly posting lots and lots of links on there.
Yes, I noticed that.
Just a legend. So thanks for that.
Yep.
And yeah.
And all our patrons, of course.
Of course.
Keep the show afloat. Yep. That's it. We're done.
All right. Cool.
Catch you next time.